Hey guys, Otto here from Acquisition Partner, back with another video. So in today's video, what I'm going to do is take you through a process here that's very, very simple. And this process is going to enable you to close clients on Zoom. Okay. Now you might think that you are already an expert at this, or you might already be sitting there thinking, I've never been able to even get a client on a call to close them. Okay. But what I'm going to show you in this video is a few key hacks that you can use to significantly increase your close rate. Okay. So what it comes down to in the first initial step is preparation. Okay. So what we're going to talk about here is how you can specifically close clients in the B2B space, where you've got them on a call from outbound, okay? So this video isn't a sales process for inbound leads, where the prospect on the other end of the line, on the other end of the Zoom call, already recognizes you, knows a little bit about your products and services, likes you, trusts you, and basically just wants to buy from you, okay? This is for anybody who's running an agency or has a consultancy and you're looking for clients and you're doing cold outbound outreach to get them, okay? So first things first, what we recommend is always, you have to do this. You always have to qualify your prospect, okay? Now, typically we do this for the agency in a two-step process, okay? So we have an intro call and then we have a demo call or a kind of extended sales call. This process here regards the demo call, okay? We're not gonna go over a 15-minute qualification call, but really what you want to make sure is that from a baseline perspective, you're just qualifying the prospect. You know, are they the decision maker? Do they have the budget? And do they have the need? Okay, so once you've gotten that information, preferably you've done that face-to-face with them on an intro call. It doesn't have to be a long one. You then book in to do a demo call where you can pitch and close them, okay? So once you've done that, we also recommend a couple of added steps within this preparation phase, okay? So once you've qualified them, what you have to do is confirm their contact details. So you might have a landline number, you might have a generic email address. Make sure that the point of contact and the decision maker who's on the call with you right now, you've got their valid current email address and you've got their phone number, cell phone number, and specifically we get WhatsApp. Okay, so you've got their WhatsApp number, all right? You might want to confirm their business details as well, but chances are you've got them, okay? So before you've gotten onto the demo call, you want all of these in order. When you're on the demo call, confirm their WhatsApp number. And what we also do as well is myself and our sales reps, we will add them on LinkedIn and Facebook, okay? So we want to kind of be omnipresent. We want to, have correspondence with them on email, but we also want a large number of touch points with our prospects, okay, across different channels, all right? So we add them on LinkedIn, connect with them, and we add them as a friend on Facebook. Okay, so very quickly, once you've started the demo call, so I've just put a dividing line there, you don't want your intro to be drawn out, okay? So if you are selling B2B services and you're not selling direct to consumer, chances are a lot of the sales training or information that you've kind of learned to date really leverages the emotional based sell, okay? But one thing we're going to talk about here is actually how you can pivot that to focusing more on a logic-based sale, and you can use a process that's more consultative and less kind of emotions-based, all right? You're not selling fitness plans necessarily to, Facebook mums who are depressed and desperate to, be happier, all right? You're not leveraging that type of emotion. You have to be able to leverage elements of logic and kind of, quantitative data and reasons behind why your prospect will actually engage with you and pay you as an agency owner, okay? So the types of prospects we're talking about are B2B companies, international companies, maybe they're doing 50 million in annual turnover, 150 million, whatever it might be, all right? You're not going to be able to pitch and close a CEO and really leverage their boohoo pain points and emotions that are keeping them up at night, all right? You have to focus more on the logic and the consultative based sales process, which I'm going to show you here. All right, so intro wise, you want to keep it brief, but what you want to do is build rapport, okay? So that can very quickly be, oh, hey John, how's your day going? Everything in the business all right? Great, perfect, okay, move on. It can be 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 20 seconds max, but what you mustn't do is, oh, hey John, how's your wife? How's your dogs? Oh, what did you have for breakfast today? Oh, was the gym good this morning? Have a good session. Okay, don't waste their time. Don't waste your time. And you don't want to give any kind of perception across that you even have time to waste, all right? Remembering that you are on this call because you are a peer. You're a business owner. They are a business owner. You have something of value that you can mutually exchange with them for something in return, okay? You're not a friend. You're not trying to be their friend, all right? So keep your rapport building brief. clearly state the purpose of the call, okay? So the reason for the call, John, obviously we spoke, yesterday for 15 minutes. I'm sorry I had to jump on another call there. But the reason for this call is to just to ask you 2 to 3 core questions about, XYZ in the business and whether what we've done for our previous clients might be transferable to you guys now, okay? Keep it casual, keep it lighthearted. Don't go across with a nervous pitch. Reason for the call is, because we offer 50 to 20% of this. Just keep it top level, keep it flowing, all right, at this stage, all right? So keep this introductory stage of this process short, all right? And the third thing here is just to set expectations. And I did that just in, that phraseology I just used. If it looks like it's a good fit, if we can actually indeed help you, or what we've done for our past clients is transferable, then, if it's appropriate, we can talk about price, if that suits you at the time. Sound good? All right, perfect. Quickly move on to needs. All right. So what you want to do here is start to identify their needs. And you don't only want to unpick what the kind of problems and bottlenecks they're facing in their business. You also want the prospect to see those for what they are and actually verbally agree with you that they are experiencing them. Okay. So naturally, when you start to talk to a prospect, and you ask them open-ended questions, if you haven't built enough rapport, if you haven't, developed any sort of trust with them, they will feel more inclined to, in essence, pitch you back and portray something that's perhaps rosier than it actually is. Okay, when running the ecom email agency, we've had guys where we'll jump on a call, and they're obviously on the call because they do have problems, they have bottlenecks, they're not leveraging email and SMS to the extent that they should be. They're not getting results from it that they want to be. Yet we will say to them, what have you been doing? How's it been going? And they will oftentimes say, we've got all these flows in place. We do campaigns. We blast our audience and it doesn't work. We do it all and it doesn't work. Okay. It's your job not to be dismissive. It's your job to continue down the flow, keep asking open-ended questions and actually get to the root of the cause. Okay. So the way that we break this down is we look at needs as a whole and we focus on motivation, and we focus on their challenges, current situation. And what we also focus on is kind of generally in their business, what their goals and visions are, what their biggest struggles are, and the duration of those struggles. Okay, so vision, struggles, duration. There's a number of other kind of groupings of core questions that we ask them. But what you need to do is establish the fact that there is a need for your service. Okay, so what we're not doing here is having a good waffly chat, trying to make them our friend and then pitching our service. Oh, great, now I've got you on a call. Well, we can do this, okay? You actually need to find out whether you can help them. Okay, so why are they motivated to solve this? What are they struggling with in the framework of, an e-commerce brand? Is it that they've got, really low profit margins on all of their products blended across all of their SKUs, and they're trying to leverage media that's not paid. They're trying to retain business from their existing customer base. They don't want to keep throwing money at ads and not generating sales. They actually want to make the most of the existing customer base that they've got, but they're simply not doing it at the moment, or they don't know how to do it, okay? It's your job to ask them open-ended questions to find out what the issue is, okay? So you can say to them, oh, that sounds really interesting. Just out of interest, when you say you've done everything, what exactly have you done? Sit back, pause, let them answer the question, take a breath. And they might say, oh, well, actually, I haven't looked at it for, 8 weeks, and we were sending out, we were just doing email blasts. You say, okay, that's interesting. Sounds like you were sending out one-off emails. Okay, you want to reiterate the problem back to them. Show them that you are actively listening. Okay, sit upright, nod, smile, show that you're engaged, but actually verbally repeat back to them the problems that they are revealing to you. Okay. You want to really delve deep into their current situation. So get an idea of what they're doing. All right. So what are they spending on ads? How many members of the team have they got? What are their goals, short, medium, long term? What are their goals for email and SMS if that's a service you're delivering specifically? Keep asking them questions. Okay. Keep the prospect talking. You might think that it's your job to be on this call to try and speak instead of them and try and pitch them. But look, there's no way that you can actually deliver your service and, guarantee your service will even work for them until you get to the point you realize that they actually have a need, and you can say that to them. Okay, so if they say, oh, come on, what's the price, just pitch me, say, well, there is no price and there is no pitch. I can't sell you something that I don't know you don't even have the need for. Okay, so we've helped people in your position, but if you don't mind, I just need a couple of minutes just to ask you some key questions so that I can see whether we can actually deliver our service to you, and second to that, actually guarantee it and uphold our promise to you. Okay, is that fair? Is that okay? And if they say no, then there's not much you can do. All right, but 9 times out of 10 they'll be reasonable and say yes. Okay, you want to get an idea when it comes to their struggles of how long they've been struggling. So is this something that they've just come up against? If you're running a Facebook ads agency, we got our Facebook account banned yesterday, our ads account banned yesterday, we desperately need help. Okay, there's immediacy behind and urgency behind their problems. Okay, that you can leverage in order to solve them. All right. Negative impacts is an obvious one, but it's one that you want them to verbally admit to. Okay, so how has this affected the business? If your ad account's been shut down, what has that meant in terms of placed orders? How much money are you losing every day? I don't know. The ad account got shut down yesterday. We were spending, $1,000 a day, and we were actually making $3,000 a day back from it, and now we're not making that money. Okay, so they're losing, net $2,000 a day. All right, if you come in to help them or find a solution and partner a solution into their business that helps and do that, you're going to make them $2,000 a day again. Okay, so they can start to see the value. All right, and you might have to match some objections here as well. So they might say to you, look, I don't have time, or why is this important? And it's just important for you to go back to them and say, look, it's really important, again, that I get an accurate view of where you're at in the business. I've obviously done my own desktop research. I wouldn't be on this call if I didn't think I could help you and my team could actually help, add value to your business. But I need to ask you these questions in order to actually give you a solid yay or nay. Okay, does that sound fair to you? Is that okay? All right, and again, 9 times out of 10, if you put it to them in that way, they will come back with a reasonable response. All right. So once you have deeply identified all of their needs, what you need to do here is label them. Okay, and this is something that a lot of sales guys and a lot of people running agencies fail to do. And in labeling their problems, you help to do 3 things. Okay, so the first thing is in labeling them, you acknowledge what they've said and you acknowledge its importance. Okay, so imagine if you've got a friend and they are disclosing all of this information to you, and they are leaning, you're a shoulder that they're leaning on, and they're talking about all their problems, and you just look at them blankly and don't respond to their questions, and then just go, oh, okay. And you don't repeat back to them, how sorry you are, or how you understand, or how you've experienced similar things, okay? They're going to feel disenfranchised. They're not going to trust you, and they're not going to come to you for advice, okay? So it's very similar with prospects in sales. You've got to show them, even though it might seem like, you've been on the call, it's clear that you both agree that they are experiencing those problems. You have to repeat it back to them, okay? And a way that you can do this is through labeling it. So say they've talked about margins in their business, and having an e-com brand. Go back to them and say, it's margin mayhem. Oh, margin mayhem. Yep, we've seen it 100 times. All of the brands we work with have to go through this mayhem period with all of their margins. We call it margin mayhem, okay? And it's where they've, terrible thing. As an e-com brand owner, you want to have 100% margins. Obviously, that's impossible. But you're saying you've got 10% margins or 2%. That's too low. We can help you with that. Okay. Oh, it's margin mayhem. Whatever it might be. Maybe it's price. Maybe they're not able to charge the price that they want to charge, and you say, oh God, you've got that. You've got the typical price problem. We've seen it, 100 times over. Okay, and we can help. Whatever. Label the problem, okay? And that's going to really help you acknowledge and help them realize that you're acknowledging it, okay? And it's going to help you build trust. The second thing here is it's going to remove blame as well. So part of this process is fact finding, okay? And you are extracting problems here, but what you don't want to do is repeat those problems back and acknowledge those problems as a personal problem that the prospect has or is causing, okay? So you want to separate them from their problems and remove blame, okay? So this links into emotions versus logic, and this will help that, okay? So when you label the problems and you remove blame off of the prospect, you're going to help separate their emotions from, suffering with those problems to the logic, to the fact that actually these are problems. Every business owner or e-com brand owner has these problems and they can be solved. That's the good news, okay? So once you've done this, once you've established their need, once you've labeled their problems and you've repeated those back and you've shown the prospect that you acknowledge their problems as being real and as valid, what you need to start to do here is go over the destination, okay? So you might be thinking, oh, I need to jump over to my offer and great, they've got the need and I've identified their problems, I need to pitch them, okay? Got to wait, calm down. Here, what you need to do at this step, specifically after labeling, is go over the destination. And you basically want to set the scene, okay? We'll just call that setting the scene. Setting the scene. And what you want to do here is set the scene, set the scenario of the ideal world, the ideal scenario, the ideal picture, okay? So if there was a solution, if a solution existed to all of these problems that you've established and acknowledged here, if there was a situation where all of those could be eradicated, where they're making a lot more money, they're a lot happier, they have less headaches, less problems, less fires to put out, is that something that they would like? Okay, again, it seems as being kind of pedantic and unnecessary, but you have to walk the prospect through all of these stages before you can pitch them your offer. Okay, so when going through the destination and setting the scene, it helps to talk about stories. So these can be like personal anecdotes or they can be client stories. So you can talk about, oh, the margin mayhem. We had a client, they're in the menswear niche and their margins were literally 50%. It was terrible. They were throwing money away at ads. And we came in and actually they came in and they deployed a load of email automations and flows and a load of new campaign types. And they actually were able to increase their margins. Okay. So start to set the scene of what good looks like for the client, okay? You need to make it clear that there is a scenario that exists where they can be happy, where their problems can be solved, okay? You also want to leverage ease and fun. So you want it to come across that the end destination for the client is actually easy and getting there can be fun. Okay, they're going to be used to experiencing a ton of pain in their business, but you want to make the end goal, the scenario to them seem like it's something that is actually very quick to do, it's very easy to implement, and that it's pain-free, it's fun to do it, okay? You don't necessarily have to explain how or why, you just have to set the scene as such, okay? It's an important thing to remember, all right? Now, the way that you can do this is by getting them to establish a vision for their business. So I've written here, business vision, okay? And the way that you can do that is by asking them questions, all right? So overtly say to them, what would it look like to you in your business if your margins were 80% instead of 20%? What if, what would the scenario be in 30 days if you were able to 5x your prices? What would that look like for your top line? What would it mean in terms of net take-home pay? That kind of line of questioning. And again, once you've asked the question, sit back, let them answer, don't cut them off. Okay, let the prospect talk. With them talking and giving you information, you can start to take notes and put together a bespoke solution. All right, it's really, really important that when you ask open-ended questions, you sit back and you let the prospect answer them. Okay. So once you've established the destination and you've shown the prospect that there actually is a positive end scenario for them, you need to start reinforcing the need, okay? Now, if you are leveraging the emotional sale, if you are selling direct to consumer, and perhaps these are inbound leads, you can do this in leveraging emotion more so than in this B2B outbound process, okay? But that doesn't mean that when you're pitching to B2B clients, you can't reinforce the need. All right, so we typically do this again through a line of questioning. And again, these questions have to be open-ended. So you don't want to ask any questions where the client can simply come back with a yes or no. Okay, does it sound good to you? Yes. If I did this, would the price work for you? No. Okay, we don't want them to come back and close off the sales process for you. We want to build on the fluidity and the momentum that we've got up until this point. But what you want to do is reinforce the need. Okay, so ask some questions. If you had instant access to X or Y, how much would this be worth to you in your business? Okay, so and even in a B2B sense, what would that mean emotionally? Like when you go home at night, when you go to bed, these things that are keeping you up at night. If you had a solution to this, if this was solved overnight in the next 24 hours, what would that mean to you? Would you be able to breathe? Like what would it mean to you just out of interest? Okay. Second to this, you might also want to establish their kind of level of integrity as well. Okay, so in the information that they've provided with you, if you have any concern that it might be incorrect, or maybe they've not given you the full picture, it's important to reinforce the need through the question, a question like that tackles their kind of integrity without persecuting them or accusing them. Okay, so it might be that you say, look, I get the sense that you are a person of your word, and that these are real problems in your business. Is that fair to say? Or if that's not fair to say, what would you say? Okay, you want them to basically say to you, no, these are serious problems to me. Okay, I wouldn't be on this call, I wouldn't be revealing them to you if they weren't problems. Okay, reinforce that need. Okay, reinforce it a few times. All right, 3 to 5 times is probably enough. All right, and then the last line of questioning here is basically an open-ended, any other questions. Okay, have you got any other questions, about what we've discussed so far? We do this in our sales call. Make sense so far? Great. Okay, move on. Just get their buy-in continually. All right. Now it's after all of these steps, step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that we get to the offer. Okay, it's counterintuitive. You might think I'm on a sales call. I need to say hello, and then I need to pitch and put my offer forth. You have to wait until step 7 to put your offer. Okay, and the way that you need to put your offer forward is you need to state it very, very clearly. Okay, and what you also need to do is state the transformation. Now, as a marketer or a salesperson, you and myself included will probably be very involved in the nuts and bolts of delivering your service. Okay, you might fail to realize that the prospect that you're selling to isn't as well versed in marketing or in your process as you are. Okay, and you're going to have to educate them about that over time. But at this stage, when pitching your offer, now is not the time to explain your service. Okay, so we make emails and we create loads of flows and we do 5 different types of campaigns, and you're going to confuse the prospect, and they're not going to understand the end goal. They're not going to understand the true value that they are going to get guaranteed from engaging with you. Okay. So you need to state your offer clearly, and you need to practice that, and you need to make sure that your offer clearly states the transformation. So whether that's, we'll add 60 to 220K in placed orders within 24 hours via email and SMS, or your money back, whatever it might be, you need to get well versed and practiced in creating that elevator pitch. Okay, and that elevator pitch, that offer, it has to leverage a transformation. Okay, it has to show a clear before and after. Okay, before, you don't have 60 to 220K in 24 hours, you will have that. Okay, if you don't, money back, whatever it might be, you need to state the transformation clearly. That's how simple stating your offer should be. Okay, and once you've done that, you need to move on. And what you move on to is price. Okay, and price is probably the one place that if you've gotten to this stage with your prospect, that you're going to fall over at and have an issue with. Okay, you need to clearly present your price. So presentation. All right, sorry, the video cut out there, but what we were talking about was the stage of pricing. Okay, so once you've stated your offer and you've clearly stated the transformation that you are going to deliver, you need to present your price. Okay, now this is where a lot of you guys will be struggling. If you've gotten to this point and you've done it correctly, then stating your price shouldn't be a problem. But one of the biggest hurdles that sales guys run into, and if you're running an agency and you're watching this video, that you probably struggle with, is having the comfort and level of conviction required to state your price clearly and then sit back and wait for the prospect to respond to it. And the reason that you struggle to do that is because you aren't confident about how you can match objections. Okay, so you're worried that if you state your price clearly and you don't then preempt it or waffle or try and soften it, that the prospect's going to come back with a load of questions and you're not going to have the answer for them, and then you've messed the whole thing up. Okay, but what you must do in order to first avoid that scenario is present your price clearly. Okay, so what we do before we present it is we basically just preempt that we're going to lead into pricing. We say to the prospect, look, if am I right in thinking that if you basically had a solution to all of this, if all of the implementations we've discussed that are available to you, if those could help you completely eradicate these problems and unlock an extra 10K in 24 hours, whatever it might be, and if the price made sense, is that something you would want to go for? or is that something you'd be interested in? Or, you know, would it make sense for you to get started? Whatever the question might be, once you make it, sit back and wait for them to respond, okay? 9 times out of 10, if they are a reasonable person, they will say, well, of course it does. Yeah, if the price makes sense and it solved, you know, it was a silver bullet, would absolutely do it. You know, they are on this call. They're a business owner. They're on this call because they want to do anything. They want to find any sort of strategic hack or implementation they can in order to make their business better, okay? You should be doing the same as running a business, all right, and as a business owner. So clearly present your price, okay? And this is how you do it. Now, Hormozi talks about the value stack, okay? And you need to use the value stack tentatively in the B2B outbound process, right? So when you are trying to close CEOs that are running businesses of, you know, 50, 150 plus million per year, what you don't want to do is talk to them, communicate with them as if it's a direct response landing page, you know. So, you know, if you join us today, you're going to get £10,000 worth of this, and then you're going to get this. And not only that, you're going to get this. And that's got a price of 8K and 6K and 12K. But for the measly price of $500 today, that's how much it's going to cost you, okay? That's not how you want to value stack. But what you can do in terms of this B2B approach here is just leverage some of the reinforcement factors. Okay, so you know, in terms of pricing, you know, if that was to include not only your foundational flows but getting all those advanced flows set up, you know, 5 to 6 different types of campaigns. So you solve the margin mayhem problem or the pricing problem, XYZ. Go through some of the reinforcement points as part of your value stack, just to reinforce and I guess kind of package together in the prospect's mind some sort of tangible solution that they will be getting and they will be paying for. All right. You don't want them to be sort of ambiguous and have a lack of clarity about what it is you're actually going to do for them. Okay. Now, what we typically do after this value stack is we would say, you know, typically what we would bill is X, but we are a business that favors urgency. We don't have a lot of time to waste, and actually our build slots or whatever it might be are incredibly limited. And obviously from an ethical point of view, you have to be honest about this and truthful, you know, but equally, if you aren't inundated with work, maybe it's a preference, you know, maybe you can say to them, look, we only work with 1 client extra per week, you know, and if you are, if that is your genuine preference, then you're not lying. Okay. So absolutely never lie when it comes to these things. But, you know, leverage a kind of, you know, if but scenario here when it comes to pricing. So, you know, if we hadn't had this conversation and you were coming to us cold, it would be 12K. But if you made the decision within the next, you know, 24 hours, I'd be super happy to knock some money off of that and it would be 10K. All right. Once you've stated the price, be silent. Okay. 10K. Be silent, okay? You need to be able to withstand the awkwardness or the perceived uncomfortable feeling of being silent, okay? Sit there. You're looking at the prospect, okay? 9 times out of 10, they will be more uncomfortable than you and they will want to fill that silence, okay? And what they will fill that silence with, you know, if this is the average sales process, unless you've done an incredible job, are objections, all right? I'm going to wrap this video up very, very quickly because it's gone on, but I'm going to go over the 3 core objections that you will have to match, okay? And when it comes to objections, you can't be scared, all right? So fear is not an option, all right? You want to put yourself in a position where you have the fortune, the luck, you know, the honor to be able to actually match objections and rebuttal those, okay? Because if you haven't gotten to the stage, you haven't gone through all of these stages successfully, you haven't been able to pitch your offer, you haven't given a price, all right? You've not done anything correctly if you don't get to the objection stage. So when it comes to objections, there's 3 core ones, okay? I guess 1 and 2 are kind of the same, but the first one is decision making, okay? So it's have to think about it, Number 2 really is too expensive, and oftentimes they are kind of hidden within each other. And then the third point here, it's not an objection actually, it's implementation, is to close, all right? Ask for the close. So the first 2 objections, 2 to 3 here. Now, when it comes to the prospect saying I have to think about it, there are a number of different ways that you can come back to that. typically you might want to go back and say, you know, what questions do you have basically that you're going to have to think about? Is there something, or what is it specifically that you are going to have to go away and think about? Is it the cost? Ask them outright, okay? Get them to say yes or no. With objections, you can't take them at face value. You have to get to the root of the cause. And 9 times out of 10, the prospect will hit you with an objection. And actually, it's a fear that they have that is being kind of confused and clouded by their objection. Okay, so the fact they're saying that it's too expensive might really be because you've not effectively educated them on the transformation that you're going to deliver. Okay, so then what you can do is say, you know, once you get to that specifics, you can then reinstate and restate specifically what the process is, what the next steps are, and how you work. Okay. If it comes down to, you know, I'm going to have to think about it, and you actually find out specifically, information-wise, what they need, you can then help to fill those gaps in their knowledge. All right. You can help build trust, whatever it might be. When it comes to cost concerns, now I'm of the mindset that if you have a service or a product and you've priced it and you believe in it and you know that it works, then you shouldn't ever have to come down on price. You shouldn't ever have to compete on price, because if you qualified your prospect and, like I say, you have something that works and that delivers the transformation you promise and that you wholeheartedly believe in, then it's worth the money you're charging. Now, if you're just starting out in your, agency, kind of genesis, you will be at a stage where you think that any amount of money that you're trying to charge is too much. But I promise you, there's clients out there who will pay you $6,000 up front, $12,000 up front, $25,000 up front, $100,000 per year. Those clients exist because we've closed them, and we've gone from the position that you're in to the position that we're in now. Okay, if we've gone from the position of struggling, you know, doing free trials and $500 per month retainers, to being able to bill, you know, life transforming amounts of money from just one client. Okay, so when it comes down to cost concerns, you don't want to, and you don't have to lower your price. Okay, and the one way that you can kind of preempt that and set expectations there is to say, yeah, I completely agree with you. We are expensive. It's incredibly expensive. It's a huge investment, and we're not cheap. What we do is not cheap. Our staff aren't cheap. Nothing we do in the business is cheap. Okay? And let them talk. Agree with the prospect every single time. Don't disagree with them. You're not going to convince them otherwise. Actually, no, it's really cheap and it's really cost effective. Okay? It's not your job to provide reasoning behind their objections. Okay? It's your job to come back and state the facts. All right? Once you've established again and reiterated your value, it will be worth going back to them to say, you know, look, there are some opportunity costs here, and let me ask you a question. If this is too expensive, what is the true cost of you not doing this? What is the cost of you not solving this problem? Okay, what if you don't solve this in the next 24 hours, what's going to happen to you? Okay, that doesn't sound that bad. But if you don't solve this in the next 30 to 60 days, what's going to happen? And 90 days, will you even have the business? Okay. Ask them these types of questions, and I'll make a whole different video about objection handling. The third one here actually is the spousal objection. Okay, talking to the spouse. Okay, and chances are, if you've confirmed they're the decision maker, they won't even bring up this objection. But sometimes they will. You know, I just need to speak to my wife. And this is one that I will be very candid. Okay, I will go back to the prospects and our sales reps too. Will say to them, look, you know, I was under the impression that you make the decisions in your business. Is that wrong? And let them answer. They are not going to say. They're not going to say no. They're not going to agree with. They're going to say no. I own the business. I make the decisions. You can say, oh, okay, great. Well, this is the decision that you have to make. If you go down the rabbit hole here and it actually turns out that their wife or, you know, partner or business partner is, you know, heavily involved in the day-to-day goings on of the business, then you're going to have to get them both on a call. Okay. And you should have done this with your preparation. All right. But 9 times out of 10, if you go back to them very clearly and say, look, I'm really sorry, but I thought you made the decisions in your business, and let them come back and say, no, actually, I do make the decisions. I can make the decision. It's actually this that I need, or I need that information, or whatever it might be. Then you can then go back to them with that information and again, ask for the close. So once you state the price, you match objections, you just want to answer the close. You want to ask for the close. Okay. So when you've rebuttal with the objection, you've given them an adequate response, whatever it might be, they've agreed to you, say, great, ready to get started, keep asking for the close, okay? ABC, what is that? Always be closing. I think it's old school techniques, all right? But if you're on a Zoom call, if you're doing, you know, remote sales like this, don't forget that you are trying to get a measurable outcome from this call. Always ask for the close, all right? So once you've gotten to this stage here, the close, hopefully they've said yay or nay. And if they've said yay, you want to make the next steps really, really clear. Okay, so again, just as your kind of prep and intro, stages are, you want to keep this very simple. And you want to keep it simple, clean and easy, all right? And if you've got any specific next steps, you want to say to them, look, next steps wise or onboarding wise, super quick and easy. Onboarding takes 30 minutes, whatever it might be, and state to them specifically what you're going to do and then do it, okay? Even if it seems, irrelevant at this point in time, you have to continue to demonstrate to the prospect that you are trustworthy and that you are going to deliver on your promise, okay? So if you've said to them in the call, a recommended coffee shop, I'll send you the address, whatever it might be, even if you get to this stage at the end of the call where you think that's irrelevant information, you have to loop back into that email, I promise you I'd share the address with you, here it is, okay? You have to prove that you're a man of your word. And every opportunity that the prospect gives you to do that is a gift, okay? You have to continue building trust. So keep your next steps simple. Maybe it's I'm going to send you a payment link. You're going to see our standardized terms. You have to sign and complete those within the next 24 hours. But the most important step in this next steps process is booking your next call, okay? And this is the same for when you're doing your intro call to your demo call. Don't leave the prospect unclear on what the next steps are, okay? So when you hang up, they need to know specifically when they're next going to hear from you and what the process is, okay? And the best way to do this is to book in a guaranteed call. So even if they've said nay, they've not agreed to your close, or they need time, or you've given them an hour, you're not closing them directly on the call. Maybe you've said, we'll need a decision by the end of business today. Every single time, 100% of the time, you have to book them onto a next call. So say to them, look, and this will be the truth, hopefully, if you're running a busy agency, my diary is incredibly busy. I want to make sure that as I suspect this is all going ahead, I want to make sure that I've got time in the diary sectioned out for you, okay, so that I don't have to put you off until next week. So what I want to do is pencil something in the diary now. What's your availability looking like, okay? Get it up on the screen, get your calendar up and agree a time. Pin them to a time, 2 p.m., get their email address, which you'll have anyway, get them to confirm the call that you're having tomorrow on your existing live call now, okay? So guys, this has been a really in-depth video about how to conduct your in-depth sales calls and demo calls, all right? This is specific for B2B outbound. If you're in a position where you don't have a huge audience, where you are not getting an inundation of inbound leads, where people and your prospects don't actually really know who you are and you don't have any sort of preloaded trust with them, this process, if you follow it, I guarantee will increase your close rates. All right. So if you haven't already, guys, subscribe to the channel. We are almost at 2K subs, which is awesome. Thank you to everybody who's subscribed to date and continues to watch these videos. It's much appreciated. We have also got a client acquisition free course. So I'll drop a link below in the description box. And if you've got any questions at all, drop them below in the comments. I'll be more than happy to help answer them for you. All right, guys, I will catch you in the next one. Cheers.